come through, sending the children to childcare, and then that's the last time we lean on you.
Good morning and welcome to UUCC, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua. We are a group of spiritual free thinkers who gather to celebrate life, build community, and better the world. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. I'm Dorothy Hoskins, your worship associate for this morning, and the service will be led by our member Marty Dodge. This service is also being live streamed in our YouTube channel. We'll plan on continuing with hybrid worship services throughout the church year, so you can join us each week here in person, on Zoom, or later on YouTube, as you prefer. If this is your first visit, welcome! We invite you to sign the visitor's book in the entryway, and whether it's your first or your 1,000th, we are glad that you are here. I have a few announcements to share with you today. Please wear a mask. Masks are available for anyone who forgot one out in the entryway. RE and childcare will be provided this morning by Nancy Reed and Pat Mells. We will be collecting the cards for joys and sorrows after our first hymn. Please fill them out or type in the chat box on Zoom if you have something you would like to share. Thank you to all who donated, volunteered for, and shopped at our nearly new sale yesterday. You can continue shopping today after church, and everything is 50% off the sticker price. Are there any other announcements for the good of the community?
There's also a 50/50 raffle. So if you're interested, it's $1 a ticket. 6 tickets for $5. We already have about $70-some in there, so you're guaranteed winning at least $35 if you win. And we'll have the drawing after everybody shops here, okay? In the back.
Yes, Brandon?
I just wanted to announce our June annual meeting is happening on June 11th. That's in 3 Sundays. So for voting members, you can come and vote for the board and our other leadership positions. And we'll be also voting on some changes to the bylaws. If you are on a committee and haven't submitted a report to me, I'll be compiling an annual statement. So please send that to me when you have a chance as well.
All right, don't miss the date if you're a member, June 11th. Can people participate via Zoom?
Yes, we're going to be doing it combined, so you can come live or you can vote through Zoom. We've never done it that way, but we'll be following the same combined system that we've had all year.
Okay, thank you very much, Brandon. Anything else? Okay. As we prepare to be fully together, I remind you to silence your phones and other devices at this time. We now enter a space of worship. I invite you to join us now for the lighting of the chalice, The words will be on your screen. Okay. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. As we come together this morning, I'd like to share with you a small poem, Weavers of One Story, by Lee Origini. Pardon me. Here we are, together, each facing our different human tasks, or maybe the same central one, to embrace the lessons life delivers, to discern and respond as we grow, to refuse harm and cherish flourishing. May we know ourselves as vessels of infinite possibility, holders of each other's heartaches and tales of joy alike, weavers of one story in which we all have our part. Please now rise in body or in spirit and join us in our opening hymn, number 295, in the gray hymnal, Sing Out Praises for the Journey. It will also be in the words on the screen. We are a community that holds one another in our celebrations and in our pain. We welcome you to share your joys and sorrows by writing them down on the card you found on your chair, and placing it in the basket when it comes by you, or typing in the chat box on Zoom. Know that whatever your heart is holding today, whether it is shared or not, we are with you. And now, for those of you who would like to look at the pictures closely, we invite you to come up and sit on the floor for our story for all ages, which is The Little Engine That Could. Anybody care to join us up here? Once upon a time, there was a small train, was a very happy train because it was full of good things for girls and boys. It was full of toys, like animal toys and airplanes and a funny clown and dolls and trucks and cars, all kinds of fun things for children. It also was full of good foods like apples and strawberries and oranges and spinach, and fun things to eat like ice cream and candy and lollipops. The little train was very happy about its cargo. It liked to deliver good things to the girls and boys on the other side of the mountain. But when this little train was chugging and puffing and chugging and puffing and chugging and puffing along, all of a sudden it couldn't move anymore. No matter what it tried to do, it just couldn't budge another inch. Well, all the toys were very upset. They said, "What will we do? What will we do? We've got to get over the mountain," to the children. And the animals looked and they saw another train was coming, another engine. So they said to this big, strong engine, "Can you help us, please? We've got to get over the mountain with the toys and the good things to eat for the boys and girls on the other side." Well, this big engine, he was not impressed with their toys and their nice food. He said, "I am a passenger engine. I only pull people over the mountain. I can't help you." Oh, they were very upset. So they waited and they watched, and there came another train. This was a big, strong train also. And they said, "Oh, please, please, won't you help us? We have to get over the mountain with the toys and the candy for the boys and girls on the other side." And this train, big, strong train, said, "I'm not going to pull your little cargo. I am a freight train and I pull big and important things, not toys." Oh no. So they waited and watched and they saw another little engine coming. This one didn't look so good. He was kind of rusty, didn't look very strong, but they still asked, "Could you please pull us over the mountain so we can get the toys and the food to the children on the other side?" And he said, "No, I'm really sorry, but I don't think I'm strong enough anymore to pull a train over the mountain." Well, this was very hard for all the animals and the toys. Whoops. Okay. They were all so sad they felt like they might even cry. But then the clown who was watching out for trains saw another little engine coming along the track. It was a small blue engine, pretty small, not very big at all. But they still said, please, 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 would you please help us get over the mountain with the toys and the candies for all the boys and girls? It was not a very big engine. She stopped and she thought and she looked and she considered and she saw lots of toys for little boys and girls. And she saw good food for children on the train. And she thought about that hill. That was a pretty big mountain to get over. But she just said to herself, I think I can. So she started off, hitched up to the train of toys. Slowly, she chuffed and she puffed and she pulled, and the train began to move. Well, all the toys were cheering and they were having a wonderful time. They were so happy. They were going up and up and up on the hill, and the engine was saying to herself, I think I can. If you know this part, say it along with me. I think I can. 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 And they got over the top of the mountain. And everybody cheered. And then the little engine took them carefully down the other side to the village so they could deliver all the toys and the candy to all the boys and girls in the village. And the little engine that could was very satisfied with all the hard work she put in. She said to herself, I thought I could. I thought I could. I thought I could. I thought I could. And that is the end of our story. And now the children can go downstairs for their daycare. Joys and sorrows we will now have. I'm sorry, I got a little out of the order there. I was a little too enthusiastic with my storytelling. So, which are we going to do, the joys and sorrows?
We should probably do the offering first,
Okay,
and
all
then
right.
we can do joys and sorrows.
Thank you. Now is the time in our service to join together in the spiritual practice of generosity. Our gifts of both time and money support our church and its work. Each week, we would like to spotlight a group or committee and thank them for their gift of time. This week, the group is Religious Education. People interested in finding out more can contact Nancy Reed when she comes back from doing the RE today with the children. 1/4 of our plate collection for the blooming season goes to Finger Lakes Justice Partnership, an organization working to weave together the efforts of the region's diverse justice-seeking individuals, organizations, and institutions. You can give to this morning's offering by placing cash or a check into the basket or by one of the options on your screen. Please make a note that your gift is intended for today's offering. We now gratefully accept the offering. you have any cards today?
I think they're behind you in the basket.
Oh, thank you, sorry. Amateur hour for the person doing our joys and sorrows, sorry. Sorrow for the fighting in Ukraine, especially around Bakhmut. Happiness for a teacher coming back soon. Joy for having 2 sons visit for a birthday month. Joy for the beautiful weather. Happy birthday to Melissa. And also happy birthday to my sister who would have been 71 today, Carol Lee. Thank you. I'll now drop a stone for these and all the joys and sorrows left in the silence of our hearts. Whatever is in your hearts today, will you repeat after me? We are with you. We are with you. All right, and now we will go into the centering and meditation part of our service. Thank you, Bill. It's
Yeah, good morning.
time for the centering and spirit of life.
Meditation. Question in my mind, what was meditation? Long time ago. And I came upon a practice that worked really well for me. It was incrementally tighten groups of your muscles, calves, 10 seconds, relax, thighs, 10 seconds, relax, butt, 10 seconds, relax, upper body. And that sets you up. And then simply quiet the mind. And the best way to do that, I found, that really works for me, is to become conscious of your breathing. Just to feel each breath and concentrate about each breath coming in. And I found that to be a really neat way of emptying, settling down, quieting my mind. And I guess we'll have a few moments of absolute silence, and Bill will pick in. This is Danielle Lyon. Asked me more than a month ago if I would deliver a message to the congregation on this Sunday, the 21st of May. Is the audio okay? Can you? Yeah. I don't have to. At that time, she provided the very general topic guideline of unfurling desire. A moment's hesitation hit as I contemplated my age-related, not so mild cognitive decline and my diminishing confidence. But having given a Sunday presentation with what I felt was a moderate level of success, half a dozen times since I joined the church in 2001, I accepted her request. The concept of desire is quite straightforward. Tacking the word unfurling in front of the word desire adds a level of complexity. As I mulled over those many moments and many situations in my life when I really wanted something to happen, I realized how often I have been faced with some form of competition. With one brother 2 years older and a second brother 3 years younger than I, sibling rivalry in many forms conditioned my early childhood years. Sibling rivalry took a quantum leap after my dad passed away, and then several years later, my mom remarried a wonderful gentleman who happened to have 5 sons. 4 of these boys were older than I. All 7 of my brothers were in one way or more super achievers. And in the face of extreme academic talent, in almost every case, I was overwhelmed. During the time we all lived together, my oldest stepbrother, Don Bradley, graduated from Yale University, attended Columbia Medical School, and became a neurosurgeon. Tom Bradley attended Yale University as an undergrad, earned a PhD from Yale in Slavic languages, and went on to become a professor of Russian at Swarthmore College. Edward Bradley graduated first in his class from Yale University, earned his PhD from Yale in classical languages to become a professor of Greek and Latin at Dartmouth College. Terry Bradley, a graduate of Arizona University, entered the field of residential construction. Lowell Dodge graduated from Yale, earned a law degree from Harvard, and established a career working with Ralph Nader promoting auto safety. Nicholas Bradley obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree from Washington State University, and he established a career as a secondary school teacher in the state of Washington. Stephen Dodge, my youngest brother, graduated from Yale University, Yale family, and started and sold businesses first in cable TV, then in FM radio, then in microwave towers, and ultimately in upscale residential construction. When Steve suffered a fatal bicycle accident just a few years ago, his global company, American Tower, had a market capitalization of $73 billion. I was awed by the social and political skills of most of my brothers as well, until my mom and stepdad sent me far away from my siblings to attend the Kate School in Carpinteria, California. In the fall of 1959, I lacked confidence and did not have a very positive self-image. To find something I could do well to bolster my self-concept became a very clear desire in my mind. During my childhood years, my entire family had a serious interest in playing tennis. While living in California, my dad had played seriously enough to achieve a respectable ranking in the California competitive circuit. For the 6 years we lived in North Haven, Connecticut, in a home he had built on a property next to the High Lane Club, a facility that maintained 8 tennis courts and a concrete backboard, I worked hard at improving my own tennis game. I dedicated countless hours to slamming a tennis ball against the backboard and took every opportunity I could to play singles or doubles on the clay courts with family or friends. As a junior and senior at the Cate School in California, I took the best advantage I could of what was a strong and well-developed tennis program. I earned a position on the varsity team and played tennis whenever I could during both fall and spring semesters. I am sure that I eroded a significant amount of cement dust from the surface of the concrete backboard when I could find no one to join me and play on the regular courts. The Cate School tournament at the end of my senior year would certainly put me face to face against the best players in the school. I had made it through the quarterfinals and semifinals in hard-fought, close matches. Rollie Schilling, a lanky 6'2" classmate with whom I had split singles victories numerous times during my 2 years at Cate, would be my opponent in the tournament finals. I recall the delight I felt when the day of the match opened with a clear blue sky and not a whisper of wind, perfect for playing tennis. As I look back on my life, I must acknowledge, in that spring of 1961, I was in the best physical condition I have ever been. Coupled with my speed and endurance, I powered through the first 4 long sets of that tennis match. The 5th set definitely unfurled my desire to prevail. That victory stands as the acme of my tennis career. With intent to continue playing tennis, I tried out for the tennis team the year I entered Colby College in Waterville, Maine, but a new passion displaced my love for tennis. I continued to play tennis casually until a few years ago when my abused hip and knee joints finally put a stop to charging violently back and forth, chasing a fuzzy little ball. In the early spring of 1962, my first year at Colby College, a notice on the bulletin board in the Commons building invited interested parties to attend an informational meeting about woodsman's competition. Irving Tillett, a former Colby student and current director of admissions for Colby, had posted the notice. 6 Colby men attended that meeting where Mr. Tillett described woodsman's competitions that had occurred a few years previously when he was a student. I lit up when he talked of chopping contests, canoe races, fly casting competition, and a dozen other related activities. Middlebury College in Middlebury, Vermont would serve as host for the 15th annual Spring Intercollegiate Woodsman's Championship. The 6 of us committed to gather for practices and to participate in competition at Middlebury. The collection of farmers' axes, saws, and other second-rate equipment we were able to scrounge together put us at a distinct disadvantage at the Middlebury competition. As well, our techniques lacked the most rudimentary sophistication. We finished near last place, but the activity ignited a hot spark in my being. I succeeded in assembling 6 Colby men to practice together and to compete in the annual Spring Woodsman's Championship for each of the 3 subsequent years I attended Colby College. After the competition my senior year, the team acknowledged my 4 years as captain and de facto coach of the Woodsman's team with a brass plaque affixed to the paddle I had used as a stern person to win the spring double slalom canoe race in my last 2 competitions. As hard as we tried, the best we did overall was to come in 3rd place behind teams from the 4-year forestry program sponsored by Paul Smith College and Nichols College out of Massachusetts. Upon graduation from Colby College, I accepted a general science teaching position at the Thomaston Grammar School in Thomaston, Maine. And toward the end of my 2nd year in that position, I received a draft notice from the United States government. My lottery number was 58 out of 365. The previous year, draftees with lottery numbers from 1 through 240 had been conscripted. I was going to be drafted. The previous year, draftees, a significant number of these folks were serving at that time in what was the peak of the Vietnam conflict. One of these individuals, Leslie Dickinson, who had earlier in our career virtually saved my life, carrying me out of the woods after I hit myself with an axe, had been a fraternity brother at Colby. He was fatally injured when he stepped on a landmine 3 weeks after we were deployed. I applied for admission in 1967 into the United States Coast Guard Officer Training Program in Yorktown, Virginia. I was accepted, and after a 90-day training program in Yorktown, was assigned to my first choice of duty station to serve as a deck watch officer aboard the United States Coast Guard cutter Sedge out of Cordova, Alaska. My 3 years in Alaska established an enduring love for unspoiled wildness. To this day, 0.5% of the land area of Alaska has incurred any significant development. As a summertime labor leader, as a United States Forest Service worker, as a leader for the Finger Lakes Community College travel ecology courses, and as a retiree, I have returned to Alaska 27 times for as long as 3 months at a stretch. In the fall of 1970, I entered Utah State University, where I earned a Master of Forestry degree. In the fall of 1972, I was hired as an instructor of natural resources conservation at what is now called Finger Lakes Community College. It used to be CCFL. In January of 1974, while sitting around a campfire at the Royal Palm Campground in the Florida Everglades, I just described my woodsman's competitions at Colby College. 2 of the students participating in this travel ecology course, Raymond Donahue and Manuel das Neves, spoke up, suggesting that FLCC should have a woodsman's team. I thought to myself that a team from a 2-year commuter college would not have a chance competing against teams from 4-year university-level forestry programs. When we returned to Canandaigua, Ray and Manny recruited 4 additional players and initiated practices for the 27th annual Spring Woodsman's Championship that would be hosted that year by Dartmouth College. The collection of equipment we used at the 1974 Dartmouth competition was not much better than that which I had been able to assemble for my first meet while at Colby College. As anticipated, we did not do very well. There would be no return, however. I was hooked. At a social gathering at the home of Bill Banaszewski in Naples in spring of 1980, Jack Bricker posed the question to the group of mostly FLCC faculty, what is it that you would most like to accomplish in the years ahead? My response was immediate: win the annual Spring Woodsman's Championship. Woodsman's activity at FLCC and at other institutions had been gaining stature and popularity. The first women's team entered the contest in 1973. In spring of 1977, the Finger Lakes squad had a roster of more than 30 players that included 3 full women's teams. The Finger Lakes women first won the spring championship in 1980. The Finger Lakes men earned their first title in 1983. When I retired in 2011, the men had earned 20 championship titles and the women had earned 14. To put the level of skill developed by FLCC competitors in perspective, it is noteworthy to mention the level of success graduates have attained as professional competitors. Dave Jewett, a resident of Pittsford, New York, has broken his own world records more than a dozen times and has earned 3 world championship titles at recognized international competitions. Christine Van Gee won the first ever recognized women's world championship in underhand chopping at a competition in Hayward, Wisconsin in 1994 in world record time, and won the same event at Hayward again in 1996. Improving performance in each of the 19 events included within the typical spring championship meet depends upon constant improvement of techniques as well as improvement in the equipment itself. The evolution of competitive items, including canoes, chopping axes, throwing axes, splitting axes, one-person saws and two-person saws, is a constant process. To impart a sense of the complexity that can be involved, I choose to describe in some detail what I was able to do to perfect a crosscut saw. Almost every conversation I had with professional competitors about crosscut saws provided additional insight on what characteristics a piece of steel should have and what could be done to make a saw cut faster. In 1979, I got a line of what was considered to be the best production crosscut saw ever manufactured. When this 7-foot-long Siemens 503 from Redding, California arrived in Canandaigua, I knew I had treasure. I met soon with Ernie Vroman in Syracuse, New York, who was considered one of the best saw filers in the area, to learn all I could to make this particular Siemens 503 cut faster. Armed with this filing knowledge, I went to work on this excellent piece of steel. The first step involved cutting a foot off each end to create the proven optimum 5-foot length for a 2-person crosscut team to make multiple cuts through an 8-inch square white pine timber. To allow the saw to move freely as it drops deeper in the curve, the thickness of this particular saw tapered evenly from a maximum of 98 thousandths of an inch at the bottom of the saw to a minimum of 66 thousandths of an inch at the top of the saw. When the 26 pointed cutter teeth on each side of the saw are aligned precisely, joined exactly to the same height, and set exactly the same distance apart, cutting speed is maximized. The curved hooks of the raker edges slice a ribbon of wood out of the deepening curve. The optimum difference between the height of the cutter points above the raker hooks varies with the hardness of the wood and the particular species of wood being cut. I filed and spring set each cutter tooth 12 thousandths of an inch wider than the saw body and 15 thousandths of an inch above the rakers. The strips of wood lifted out of the kerf can fill the gullet and jam the saw and must be filed away to release the accumulated wood. In January of 1980, I poured over 100 hours of my time to create what I thought was to be a winning saw. In the process of joining, filing, setting, honing, and polishing each of the 52 cutter teeth, swaging each of the 2 hooks on the 12 rakers required hundreds of light hammer hits. Filing each of the 12 gullets to release the ribbons of wood consumed much time. To minimize friction, every surface of the saw had to be polished to a mirror finish. As I worked on the project, I found myself humming the words of the Charlie Daniels song, "The Devil Went Down to Georgia." When challenged to a fiddling contest by the devil, Johnny replied, "I'll take your bet, you devil, 'cause I'm the best there's ever been." Call it what you will. The words "unfurling desire" say it well. I put my all into creating the best saw I could. The total effort paid off handsomely. The Finger Lakes men and women's teams took 25 consecutive first-place finishes in the team crosscut event. let me ask our audiovisual team to run a 30-second clip of an FLCC team running a well-tuned crosscut saw.
1, go.
Don't lift up, Charles. Go down with it. Go down. Go down. Run it. Set it. Get out of the stick. Go down. Go down and go fast. Let her rip. Let her go. Let her go. Get down. Down. Go. Run it. Down. Down. Go, boys. Down pressure. Down pressure.
Come on!
Yeah, let her rip. Let her rip.
Get down, CJ!
No
Get down!
Yeah, that's well, you have to get excited about something. But when I got that saw sharp enough to cut 9 cuts under a minute, and we dropped it down, that one it was 36 seconds for nine cuts, which is enough for 25 first place finishes. Technology doesn't stand still, however, and a new development came in the form of an M-tooth design saw from Australia, obtained by folks at the Environmental Science and Forestry program at Syracuse University. The Finger Lakes Community College Simons 503 lost its 26th contest to an M-tooth run by a particularly capable team from ESF. 3 members of this team were, by the way, graduates from FLCC. Turned around and whipped us. It's not the only time that happened. When I went to FLCC a month ago to borrow my beloved Simons 503 to show you, I learned that it had been demoted. It had been refiled many times and seriously abused to the extent that it snapped in 2 pieces. I salvaged 1 piece of this saw, refiled 1 section of cutter teeth, and swaged a raker to show you what it once was. If you have an interest in crosscut saw technology, some people do. Today, a gentleman from Quebec, Canada, produces crosscut saws that are consistently winning worldwide professional championships. Jean-Pierre Mercier is 3 years behind in filing orders and is able to charge $5,000 for one of his crosscut saws. FLCC managed to obtain a Mercier crosscut several years ago and has run this saw with significant success. Of all I have accomplished over the years, instilling a sense of self-worth, accomplishment, pride, and joy in the hearts of individuals I have been privileged to coach well enough for them to win regional championships stands as one of my greatest measures of success. Whatever words one might choose to describe the intensity of seeking a goal, be it passion, dedication, commitment, love, or many other words, the phrase unfurling desire says it very well. Let it be so.
Come woodsmen and woodswomen, listen to my song about those from FLCC and how they get along. They are a jolly crew of folks, so merry and so fine, who while away semesters cutting up the pine. Unfurling their desire, the competition's strong. To be the best at every test is how they get along. So early in the morning, the weather they defy. They gather their equipment and then the chips can fly. The choppers and the sawyers, they lay the timber low. The duckers and the splitters, they holler to and fro. Before the break of day, to singe off all their eyebrows and to the woods away. They chainsaws and they've bow saws and crosscut saws so sharp, and axes just for throwing that always find their mark. They've peavies for log rolling and chains they've learned to throw, and axes just for chopping and others split for show. Now if you're for a contest, try burling if you know, but if your feet aren't nimble, it's in the pond you'll go. Then toss those poke lugs quickly before you climb the pole, and paddle your canoe through the wind and waves and snow. So woodsmen and woodswomen, you've listened to my song about those FLCC teams and how they get along. They are a jolly crew of folks, so merry and so fine, who spend all their semesters studying and come off the pine.
Thank you, Bill. That captures the essence and the tone and the pace. It matches, thank you, very beautifully. All we can do is the best we can do. I poured my heart and soul into that. It was the woodsman's activity. And I still go back occasionally and work with them. And it's hard for me to stay out of it. I mean, I have ideas about the way things should be done, and the current coach doesn't necessarily agree, but it's okay. Anyway, please rise in body or spirit and join us in our closing hymn, number 1028 in the teal hymnal, The Fire of Commitment.
you so much, Bill and Marty. What a wonderful service. Please join me in our words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.